Desert Financial, located inside the Payson Walmart.
And good Tuesday morning, 4 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock, and we're already up to 61 degrees at the KRIM studios on West Frontier. This morning on KRIM's Community Spotlight, we're once again talking secrets of happy, healthy people, and with us in the studio, we have Erlene Tilton and also Donna Lynn Williams. How are you both doing this morning, ladies?
Good. How are you?
No one's told me yet, but I think I'm doing fine.
I think you are. You might have found.
Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. We needed that. Well, great. People that have been following us, you know that once a month we have these ladies on, and at times we go back into the kitchen and cook things up. And one of the things that I've really been amazed with is Erlene's use of essential oils. And specifically, I was intrigued because I'm a bit of a foodie. I like to cook, and the idea of using these in cooking I thought was interesting, not only because of the amazing flavor capabilities that come out of them, but also that there's a lot of health benefits. But it's not necessarily just the essential oils that we ingest by eating that can have a positive effect, and that's a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. And I guess one of the things is because there's an awful lot of things that maybe we're smelling in our day-to-day life, breathing in, that really are having a deleterious impact on us.
Actually, I think that we don't realize that there are a lot of toxins in our world.
Right.
We're just bombarded with them on a daily basis. And
politicians. I'm sorry, never mind.
Radio hosts.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah.
And most of this we have no control of. I mean, the air pollution. If we choose to drive a car,
right,
we are going to be exposed to some of those toxins. But a lot of it can be within our control. And we need to those are the things that we need to really focus on and understand a little bit more about how we can be more in control of those toxic chemicals that come into our bodies.
Right. Well, and these things, these toxic chemicals really are thrust upon us through media and everything else on a regular basis, right? I mean, they come at us from a lot of different angles.
They really do, and we don't really realize the impact that they could have on our bodies. And actually, recently, I had a lady, it was an acquaintance that told me this story over a couple of times, and it was like I was just so amazed. And I thought, this is something that is definitely worth sharing. But she was an ICU nurse. She worked, and her specialty, as far as her nursing career, was respiratory. Mm-hmm. So her 3-year-old daughter came down with this acute respiratory disease. They call it ART. Anyway, but everything the doctors tried, everything that she tried, everything in her medical training, she tried, but her daughter ended up going to the emergency and in the hospital usually once a month and was in there for 1 or 2 weeks.
Wow.
And they worked and were 3 years of age. Wow. And after 3 years, the doctors they had her on the highest doses of medications, which were dangerously high. And they finally came to her and says, we have done everything. We don't know what to do next. And so she decided to go to one of her friends who early on had said, why don't you try essential oils? And she says, what do you know? These little bottles, what can they possibly do? I'm a nurse. Right. I specialize in respiratory. I've got the best doctors that I'm working with. How could your little bottle help me? But after 3 years of struggling, she decided to go and, check it out. And she said just the first inhale or, just encountering the essential oil with her child, she had amazing benefits. But as her friend continued to help her understand that a lot of what her little daughter was breathing and inhaling and putting on her skin during the day might be adversely affecting her. And so as she went through her home, here was her schedule. And she says, I hate to admit what my daily routine was. She says, but when I got up in the morning, I would light a couple of candles. I would go from room to room, make sure all of my plug-ins were full. And she said I would take the aerosols and spray them in the closet, spray them in the kitchen, spray them in the bedroom, in the bathroom. Ooh. And she said once or twice a week, I would sprinkle the powders on the carpet before I vacuumed. And once a week when I changed the sheets in my bed, I would put baby powder all over the bed so my kids would wake up and just smell so good. And she says it was all about aroma. And she says, I had no idea this was killing my daughter.
Wow.
And I almost lost her. And she said, once I, number one, started using essential oils to basically help her and support her body, but I also removed all those toxic chemicals from my home, and then I replaced them with essential oil diffusers and all of the things because it was all about smell. She says, my daughter literally has never been back to the doctor or the emergency or the hospital since.
Wow. And that says quite a bit. And it says a couple of different things, too, in that, I mean, she was still able to get her aroma fix, if you will,
Right.
but do it in a much more healthy way. And that debate that exists between our medical community and maybe the naturopathic community, it has been around for a while. But I know a few different physicians who have said, there's something to this stuff. I mean, and, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's not all one way or the other. But I think more and more, some of our medical community are beginning to realize that, hey, there's something to this.
Well, I hope they did, especially with her example.
Yeah. I mean, a
because,
huge one. Yeah.
Like I said, she was a ICU respiratory nurse, and she didn't know this. And so this was really eye-opening for her.
They've come up with, we're talking about the medical profession, coming together with the naturopathic,
right.
And the media has also started to acknowledge all these, reports being done that are coming out now that say that not, these harmful products, we like the plug-ins and the
Sure.
chemicals that you're cleaning your house with, the things that we're putting on our bodies, like the fact that most of them are in plastic bottles to begin with. That's why we see a lot of these things that are BPA, for example, that come up that are supposed to be less harmful. That doesn't mean they're not harmful. So that's
less harmful than battery acid.
It's exactly right. And the things that we're putting on our body, there's ABC had those reports coming out that documented that we put on. I forgot what it was. Like thousands of chemicals a day we encounter. The things that are on your counter, in the kitchen to clean, in the bathroom to put on your body, and how our skin absorbs all of this, and casualty, kind of thing happens. It's just really amazing. But if you start, slowly and just start eliminating those things like that woman did, we might not even realize what we can avoid,
Very interesting.
I think that in 2016 they came out with an article. Before they had come out with some of these other articles, but they said that women put on about 515 synthetic substances every day.
You're talking about makeup and all of this stuff, lotion.
Yes, cleaning product. And, one particular product may have, dozens of chemicals in it. So, when you stop and think about all that we use and come in contact on a daily basis, all the aromas, all the body care, skin care, all of those things, it adds up.
Mm-hmm. And there's some people that are more susceptible to, or maybe more sensitive, I should say, to some of this than others. And, before the show today, I was mentioning that our family used to have a store and a restaurant here in Payson. And in the store, we had a number of different kinds of potpourri. And there was a couple of people over a number of years there that would just walk in and maybe get 2 steps in the door and just turn around and walk out because that was just, way too much for their sniffer. Some people are just really sensitive to this. But obviously, it's not just a matter of being personally sensitive to certain smells. I mean, there's something to this, obviously.
Right. Absolutely.
What's interesting is that we know that maybe, like you say, we don't know what they might be doing to us. Obviously, to this little 3-year-old, it was adverse.
Wow.
But the things like hormonal health, that, these xenoestrogens combat, get into your system for men and women and play havoc. They reproduce and make your body think that it's actually estrogen, and then can cause things like unnatural hair loss and infertility.
Just some of these different things that we smell can actually have an impact on
or
our
putting
hormones.
into your system.
Right.
You know, yes. And, you know, fatigue. And not to say also not being able to sleep well, irritability. There's lots of things like that that can happen. And for example, on a personal level, I had things were going a little havoc with me. And my doctor, who was a naturopath, ran estrogen test on me, and it was really high. And I've been in menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cat's
And
out of the bag.
I know, right? You're thinking, this young little thing here? But anyway, she said that that's not natural, and it probably is these xenoestrogens that are obviously causing my estrogen levels to be so high. So I started to have to look at it, even though I thought I knew everything. Imagine that. So I started to investigate all this kind of stuff just like a couple years ago and started making changes that have helped me so much.
And you mentioned that this can even affect our moods.
Your moods.
And so, you know, and I've heard that, like, when it comes to some of the essential oils that we use more in a diffuser, like we have here on the counter, there are different ones that actually can get us into being able to just, a less than technical term, maybe chill out just a little bit.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is where as you learn, so many people, men and women, have mood issues. Basically, you know, the good thing is to understand it may not be your fault. It's really all the chemicals that you're using. And if you can discard these things just like this other woman did, you may be experiencing a whole different life. But in contrast, you can actually get an essential oil diffuser and diffuse these things. And people have found excellent, amazing results with the diffuser because they can actually help lift your mood. And basically, let's go into some of those things right now. There's 3 different areas, different products that we can use as far as in our diffusers. One is our citrus oils. Now, this is wild orange. You know, go ahead and smell this. You know, most people say this is our happy oil. Basically, just to smell wild orange. It's very uplifting. And so very good for uplifting a mood. And it's really good to diffuse, or even if you don't have a diffuser. This is why I do wear my diffuser locket.
Oh, wow.
Basically, I can put, you know, a couple of drops of essential oil on the little felt pad, and I can smell it throughout the day. So this is something, just put it a drop or just open your bottle. I remember years ago going to an event, kind of a vendor event, and there was one guy just running around, just stressed out. He goes, oh my gosh, he came to me and he says, do you have anything for stress? And I gave him this little tiny bottle of lemon. And I said, just open the bottle, just smell it. And he came back several times within the next few hours and saying, you know what? I still am just as busy, but I'm not stressed. He says, what is happening? He was so amazed. And so, I mean, it really does make a difference. So, you know, we have our flower oils. This is citrus bloom. You got to smell the citrus bloom. It's magnolia mainly, Roman chamomile. It's got lavender in there as well as citrus oils.
I'm just going to sit back and smell this for a while. That's amazing.
It's a beautiful one.
It really is.
It is really, really good. But the flowers are also very uplifting, very balancing. Cedarwood, I mean, we have the woods, the frankincense, the cedarwood, and everything. Now, this is more musky, but I have a great story on this one. Oh. I was told that this is really good for sleeping. And so I was told that you do Breathe, which is a blend, and cedarwood together, and it's really good for sleep. Guess what? Not only am I sleeping better, my husband's not snoring. And that means I'm sleeping so much better.
That means you're sleeping so good you're not even hearing him snore, right?
That I put it in the
I need
diffuser.
To smell them together.
Yeah, putting them into the diffuser. Breathe is really good for opening up your respiratory.
Wow.
But as far as sleep, my gosh, he's sleeping better. I'm sleeping better. We're sleeping more solid.
And this is putting 2 of these together in a diffuser in the bedroom when you're going to bed.
Yes.
Wow, very
and like
interesting.
I said, the fact that not only am I sleeping better, but he's not snoring and sleeping better. Oh my gosh.
And you're diffusing natural products, no flames, no candles, no, and you can adjust a lot of the diffusers to have a finer mist so they go longer through your sleep, or just shut off once you get to sleep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And this actually, another thing as it pertains to, this being able to breathe better with different types of oils and stuff. For some people, this time of year is an especially significant challenge with all of the pollens and everything out there. And there's some of this that can kind of help you a bit with that as well.
Absolutely. The Breathe blend is really good for any respiratory challenges. And that's, again, where, look at your home. See what you are doing that may be causing this respiratory issues. And people will tell me, no, this is pollen stuff, this is not, and it's like, what? All the chemicals in your home is really weakening your immune system and weakening your lungs and making it harder for you to breathe, so that when you're hit with these pollens and everything, it just accelerates the problem.
And for the guys out there, you macho guys that got it all together, one of the other things I noticed in our talking points and reading through it this morning is a statistic that I thought was rather mood-altering for me. Chemicals of all kinds affects teens, babies, and men too. They're saying the average 50-year-old male today has the same testosterone level as a 70-year-old back in the 70s. Well, that's depressing.
Well, and what's the culprit?
Right.
All the chemicals. We have so many more chemicals introduced into our day-to-day living that we ever did, ever in history. And we might think that, well, we can eat a meal or we can, do a spritz and it's not going to affect me today or this time. We don't realize the compounded effect over time
builds up,
and how that really can adversely affect us, especially when we talk about mental health, learning disabilities, behavioral.
Well, and who knew, like what Donna Lynn was saying, who knew it could even affect hormones? That's astounding.
And that's not just for women.
It
can be,
Hey, I don't need any help getting rid of testosterone.
Right, exactly, So yeah, it's all about the cumulative effect that happens in your system, and it's maybe not even removing stuff today and tomorrow, but it's over time that you take control. That's the thing, is that you're given so much knowledge now and so many great products that you can make the changes.
Well, I think it's interesting too, because we've talked about the citrus oils, and you mentioned that good for maybe helping with your overall mood and stuff like that, kind of uplifting. The flower oils also uplifting, but the wood oils are grounding and calming. And like if I have kind of a stressful life. Anything that just can add a little bit of, can I just rub that all over me? But
yes.
At any rate, the fact that there are things that, can give a calming effect if maybe reality or the lack thereof is getting to be a bit much for you. I think that's good news for anybody.
Well, it is good news. And the thing that I really like to bring out for people to understand is there's a lot of chemical essential oils on the market. And so you can't just, because it's bottled essential oil, that it means it's pure. Even if the label says that, you really need to do the research, because I found essential oils in the dollar store. And I'm going, oh my gosh, really, they're all chemical. And that's the sad part of it. So you have to really do the research. And the only ones that we will use are certified pure tested grade, because that's important to me. If I'm trying to eliminate the chemicals, I don't want to purchase more chemicals through cheap essential oils.
Well, that's one of the things, myself enjoying cooking. You had mentioned that, really important that you only get the highest quality if you're actually going to be ingesting it. But the same is still true even when it comes to just putting in a diffuser. You get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
And they're not, when you really look at it, at least my experience thus far has been, is it's not very expensive when you think how long these things will last, and what, how much oomph comes, oomph is a technical term that we often use here, that comes in just one drop of this essential oil. In cooking, it changes a whole pot of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, interesting. And how long have you been into this, Donalyn?
Well, I have been aware of essential oils and the use for, probably 25 years or more, not actively using it. Probably, I'm going to say 30 years, but really just more active in them in the last few years anyway.
Yeah. One of the things in our homes, in all of our homes, that I would think might have the potential of being something to reconsider because of the vast amount of fragrance that are added to them are a lot of our cleaning products and stuff. It seems like almost whatever you're using these days got a whole bunch of fragrance in it. Is that something else to be concerned about?
Absolutely. So a lot of the aromas that are so toxic, but our cleaning products are super toxic. And, if people could just actually remove all those cleaning products and replace these with essential oils. Literally, we're going to have a class at the end of the month, actually on the 23rd. It's Friday the 23rd at Back to Basics. I just want to let people know this. And so we're going to be showing some ways and giving out some recipes of how people can create cleaning products, because basically, if you can get a bottle that might be $10 or $20, you're just using drops and you're spending pennies. In compared to the hundreds of dollars that people really do spend on cleaning products, there's a lot of money spent on cleaning products, and they're so toxic. And so basically, if you can remove all those and bring in something that is pure, not only providing good, healthy benefits, besides, taking care of the microbes and pathogens that we are trying to get on top of, and just for pennies. And so this is a huge, huge area too, where we can do, remove and replace and bring in some healthy cleaning products that are simple and very inexpensive.
Well, and with on a physical, personal note, it would seem that one of the areas where, again, fragrances in perfumes and stuff have been big, and whether you like high karate or English leather, there's a couple of names from the past that no one's probably heard of in the last 30 years. There's stuff in that really can be bad, and then with women with all the different makeup products and stuff like that, this has got to be another area where maybe we need to rethink things. That one whatever it was,
Citrus
floral
bloom.
Yeah, a woman with that on her would be highly appealing in my book. So I mean, can you?
No pun intended, right?
Yeah. It's
No, you're right, though.
so many one-liners, so little time. But I mean, it really is. I mean, that's a beautiful smell.
It is.
And it's very clean and nice and feminine and all those kind of good things. And it's actually healthy as opposed to
harmful.
Yeah, which some of the other stuff is.
Things like your dryer sheets, people don't think of. They
right.
buy them even if they're unscented.
Makes my clothes smell good. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
So they have those little I think they're felt like dryer balls, and just putting like lavender or those things that you like in your not even the dryer sheets, but in the fabric softeners. You can do that. So sometimes your investment is bigger at the beginning, but overall you're saving money at the end, and your health is so much better.
Hard to put a price on your health too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Very
Actually, I had a friend recently that broke out all of her skin with this horrible rash. And she went to all kinds of doctors. And so this one doctor started doing some allergy tests. And he came back to her and he said, you really need to change your laundry soap and a lot of the things that you're, using as far as chemicals in your home. And her comment to me is, I love my laundry soap. I have used this for 25 years or whatever, and I don't know what she was using, or maybe she told me, but I thought, wow, isn't your health more important?
Yeah.
I mean,
just the fact that my eyes fell out and my fingers are rotting, but anyway, yeah.
And I said, I would be willing to give up anything to feel better. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, it took her time to really think through this. Really, do I want to give this up? And it's like, it wouldn't have taken me but a second to say, yeah.
Right.
But, these can really, what it did to her, just all those chemicals again,
right,
were what were causing this. So we need to reconsider this too.
So, can I just interrupt really quickly also, part of the thing with all of this is that our bodies are probably, or all of us have some toxicity in us, and there are things that you can do not only to bring in these better products and, power, thinking about how to rid your body of them as well, like using castor oil packs to help your liver detox, and fresh organic vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts and kale. Sure, they're not our favorites, but they do help the body
Brussels
detox.
sprouts, not a favorite?
I know.
There are other
seriously.
people like me.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And citrus, lemon, grapefruit, oranges, those things help your body not only, nourish, but get rid of toxins as well.
And I
Flax seeds.
know
and
we're
sesame
like out of
seeds.
time, but there was
Okay.
one story that Erlene, you told before going on the air today that I think bears repeating, and that you know of a person personally that you had prescribed using some oils in their bath water at night. And tell us about what the outcome of that was, because I found that to be pretty eye-opening.
Absolutely.
Yes, I actually had a friend in our neighborhood when we lived in Gilbert who came down with hepatitis, and he was really struggling. He was really sick. And so he knew that I was into natural health. He says, I've done everything they've told me to do. What do you have anything? So my friend and I, we kind of talked over. She went, and looked up some nutritionals. I went and kind of researched kind of a detox. And I found a bath salt that had Epsom salt. It had tea tree, peppermint, and eucalyptus. Those 3 essential oils added to this Epsom salt. So I made this formula and took it over to him, and I said, get in a nice hot bath, as warm as you can stand it every night for about 10 to 15 minutes and just soak there. Well, I didn't know, what happened, but he called me, a few days later, and he said, when I get out of this bathtub, the color of the water is the color of a yellow crayon.
That would get your attention. It certainly
And
would get mine.
he really attributed his feeling better to that detox, that daily detox, because it just opened his pores and pulled all the toxins out.
Wow.
Of course, he still had a recovery, but this is the power of essential oils.
Very interesting. Now, you mentioned that you're going to be doing a class Friday, April 23rd at Back to Basics up there on North Beeline, and that'll be Friday, April 23rd at 5:15 p.m. And now, do people need to sign up for that ahead of time?
It's nice to sign up so that we know that you're coming and we can prepare for that. More than anything, just come. Bring your friends. Come learn about the power of essential oils and how they can benefit you, because we're here to help. I mean, we just want to help people, number one, be aware of what's going on in this chemical toxic world, how you can really support your body better with things from nature, and how you can support your body on a daily basis, and then use those essential oils to really support healthier living.
And one of the things that you always do when you get together with folks is you're always giving people a free ebook that they can take home. But if you can't make it to the class at Back to Basics, which again is coming up Friday, April 23rd at 5:15 p.m., and you should be there. But if you can't, you have an ebook that you'd like to email them today.
Yes, and I'm glad to do that, and you'll get that opportunity at the class as well to get your hands on this ebook. But it's toxic-free cleaning, and I have a lot of great recipes that you can use with essential oils to do toxic-free cleaning, and it's so important to do this. So anyway, just email me at ask@erlenetilton.com. So that's ASK at, and then just my name, ERLEENTILTON.com. And basically, we can put that in the chat, I guess, if people want. But if you have any other questions, if people have different type of things that they're dealing with and they just need help, I'm a nutritionist as well as a certified aromatherapist, and I really can help walk people through some of the challenges that you're facing.
And if you're interested in that, again, if you're listening on the radio, look us up on Facebook. Look for KRIM FM on Facebook, and you'll be able to see a video of our show today. And we'll also include in there that email address, which is, again, ask at Erleen, spelled Erleen, Tilton, Tilton.com, and get a toxin-free cleaning ebook. And you need to put that toxin-free cleaning in the subject line, and then you'll get the book to
They
them.
don't know.
Gotta love it. And Erleen and Donalyn, thanks for coming down and being with us once again. It's always fun to
great.
have you in here. And
Always glad to be here.
and it's always such a good smelling experience, too. Anyway, we have to take a fast break and get you caught up on what's going on in the way of KRIM weather, but also got some great music coming your way from Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Neil Young, and a whole bunch more. But first, again, a quick look at Rim Country weather.
Now here is the KRIM weather forecast for Payson and surrounding areas. I'm nowcast meteorologist Jim Vaughn. For today,